I licked Liu Ryan's boots for 3 years, cooked for her, did her laundry, and even helped with her homework. Later, someone asked her, Ji-boing has been licking your boots for so long. Haven't you ever felt anything for him? Under the dim lights, I heard her chuckle softly. Ji-boing? I just see him as a housekeeper, nothing more. Why should I feel anything for him? The whole room erupted in laughter. But what they didn't know was, Liu Ryan paid me 60,000 yuan every month. I was, in fact, just her highly paid campus housekeeper. The day I met Liu Ryan was the lowest point of my life. My dad had broken his leg on the construction site, and my mom had to both take care of him and work 3 jobs. She fainted from exhaustion. At that time, I was ready to drop out of school to go to work. But then Liu Ryan appeared. She walked in wearing stiletto heels, dressed in a perfectly tailored, elegant dress. Every strand of her hair radiated sophistication and grace. At first glance, she was clearly a rich family's daughter. With her chin slightly raised, she said she needed a campus housekeeper and asked if I wanted the job. Others might have found it humiliating, but I could only feel grateful. Don't worry, miss. I can cook, do laundry, mop the floors, clean toilets. I can do anything. Liu Ryan smiled and said, you don't need to mop the floors or clean the toilets. After a few seconds, she added, and don't call me miss. I hate when people call me that. Alright, Boss Liu, I replied. And that's how I landed a high-paying job. Boss Liu generously advanced me 3 months' salary, a total of 180,000 yuan. It was just enough to cover my dad's surgery costs. From that moment on, I devoted myself completely, serving Boss Liu with utmost dedication. She had an apartment near the school and told me I could use the kitchen freely. So every day at 6 a.m., I got up, prepared a lavish breakfast for her, and delivered it to the dormitory downstairs. All her clothes I hand-washed one by one. Silk dresses, cashmere coats, washed then ironed to perfection, folded neatly. Liu Ryan loved sweets, so I delivered desserts to her twice a week. But she also said she needed to watch her sugar intake. So she was very strict about the calories. I had to scour the internet for low-fat, low-sugar recipes, experimenting with different ideas, and eating all the failed ones myself. I also had to deliver fresh fruit platters to her daily, which required a mix of at least 6 premium fruits, one of which had to be strawberries. Whenever she planned a dinner with her girlfriends, I would book the table in advance and select the dishes. Everyone at school made fun of me, calling me a loser, a bootlicker with no prospects. But what they didn't understand was, I was just doing my job. One day, Miss Liu wanted to have dinner with her roommates. In the afternoon, she messaged me saying they wanted to drink a little. Find us a quiet place, she said. Please confirm once you've received this. I tapped my phone and replied, got it. Then I began searching for a suitable restaurant. Once I booked it, I sent her the address and private room number. Do you need me to call a car for you? No need, I'll drive myself, she replied. You're going to drink, right? Then let me call a designated driver for you. Miss Liu sent me a voice message right away. Forget it, you come along too. You can drive me back later. In order to meet Boss Liu's needs, I got my driver's license last year. Liu Ryan settled into the passenger seat, closed her eyes, and began to rest. I picked up her 3 glamorously dressed roommates at the school gate. They got into the car. When they saw me, they started whispering to each other. Oh, Ji-boing, the senior, you're coming too? I shook my head. No, I'm just driving you there. When you're done, I'll drive you back. One of the girls hesitated and said, Senior, you're being way too nice. Ryan doesn't even like you. Why bother? Miss Liu suddenly opened her eyes slightly. Ji-boing, why are you still parked here? Want a parking ticket? I quickly apologized and merged into traffic. Boss Liu had asked me to keep my role as her campus housekeeper a secret, since money was involved. People were bound to overthink it. If any rumors spread, it wouldn't be good for either of us, she said. So it's better if you just look like my bootlicker. After all, you're getting paid. I'm enjoying the service. No one's at a loss. Of course, I agreed without hesitation. Liu Ryan was the boss, and a very generous one at that. Whatever she said was right, aside from her roommates. A few classmates from their major joined the dinner too. After a few rounds of drinks, they started playing Truth or Dare. Liu Ryan was picked for truth. A guy named Lu Qing asked her. Lu Qing asked, Liu Ryan, G the senior has been licking your boots for so long. Haven't you felt anything for him? Why would I? She replied casually. He's poor, but he is quite handsome, isn't he? Don't you like that type? Liu Ryan took a sip of her red wine, curled her lips into a slight smile, and said, Gee boing, I just see him as a housekeeper. Why should I feel anything? I glanced into the private room and locked eyes with Lu Qing's mocking gaze. Lu Qing was a small-time rich kid himself, but his family's wealth couldn't compare to Liu Ryan's. He had been chasing after her for a while, but she never paid him much attention, so he had always harbored some hostility towards me. That night, I ended up on the school's confession wall. JBY, the young lady has made it clear. She's not interested in you. Please stop clinging to her. G from class of 2021. Have some dignity. She's already rejected you, yet you still insist on pestering her. What, are you after her money? Don't be so shameless. Dear Senior G, please stop bothering the rich girl. I was so furious I nearly smashed my phone. These rumors could actually cost me my job. I quickly sent a message to Miss Liu. Boss, I'm sorry about the confession wall thing. I'll sort it out within 3 days. Liu Ryan replied with just a one. But soon after, she sent another message. This is so annoying. How about you just be my boyfriend instead? I was so shocked I dropped my phone. Boss, this can't work. If we do that, I'd be going from a paid housekeeper to a free one. So I politely declined her offer. As for the confession wall incident, it was most likely Lu Qing's doing. He wanted to lick Liu Ryan's boots, but never succeeded. When he found out I was delivering meals to Miss Liu every day, he decided to compete. Liu Ryan once received cookies and egg yolk pastries he baked himself, but Miss Liu thought they were made by me. She handed me the stainless steel lunchbox and said, Well done, you're skilled, but don't make them again. They almost broke my teeth. The tiramisu you made before was way better. Embarrassed, I explained, that wasn't me, boss. Look, there's a business card in the bag. It must be from someone who secretly admires you. Liu Ryan frowned even more. So someone else made them? I nodded. She was both amused and irritated. Gee boing, if someone's sending me food, what does that say? It means you're rich, beautiful, and desirable, and they've got good taste. She crossed her arms. No, it means he's taking over part of your job. You should be worried about whether your housekeeper position is in danger. Alarm bells rang in my head. But boss, handling other people's confessions to you isn't part of my job, right? Why wouldn't it be? She gave me a casual glance. You're my bootlicker in name. Shouldn't you deal with any rivals? Are you saying my salary isn't enough? No, it's enough. Good, then, from now on, if someone confesses to me, you go and talk to them. Make sure they give up, alright? Whatever you say, boss. You pay me, so I handle your troubles. But just a few minutes later, Liu Ryan handed me a huge pile of love letters. Not sure who they're all from, she said. Take care of it for me. I quickly estimated. There were probably over 100. The task seemed overwhelming. Liu Ryan turned to leave, but I grabbed her arm. Wait, Boss Liu, about this whole rival thing. I think we need a long-term strategy. Liu Ryan's birthday was approaching, and her roommate suddenly asked me what gift I was getting her. I hadn't planned on giving her anything. After all, I'm just a fake bootlicker. It's not like I really like her. But on second thought, I probably should try to curry some favor. Good relationships in the workplace are important. How could I not get my boss a birthday gift? Her roommates huddled around me, chattering excitedly. Bro, you can't let Lu Qing out to you. I heard he's really splurging for her birthday this time. I frowned and said, stop calling her miss. She doesn't like it. One roommate gave an awkward laugh. You haven't even gotten to lick her toes yet. And you're already messing up. Another roommate added, you'd better prepare something good. I heard Lu Qing made a brooch himself, using real gemstones. It's super expensive. But Liu Ryan's jewelry box is bigger than my wardrobe. She's tired of gold and silver jewelry. Recently, she's been obsessed with handmade crafts. Do you really think she cares about what Lu Qing gives her? Still, this whole situation gave me a headache. Spending a fortune on a gift for her, I definitely wasn't willing to do that. Isn't this putting the cart before the horse? So I made a post online. Family, my goddess is about to have a birthday. What kind of gift should I give? The responses were all suggestions like gold bars to bottles of Maotai or Tiguanyin tea. Something fell off. So I reposted, family, my crush is super rich. What's a good birthday gift for her? P.S. She's incredibly wealthy. A perfect combination of beauty and money. And I'm very broke. Please recommend something cheap. The comments were full of ridicule. Are you crazy? Broke and still chasing after a rich goddess? You're poor and stingy. Someone even suggested a luxury apartment at Thompson Riviera. Amid the insults, I found a single helpful comment. How about something handmade? Knit a scarf or something yourself. A scarf did seem like a good idea. Cheap and practical. But the problem was I didn't have the time. So I turned to the magic of online shopping. Typed in handmade scarf and found scarf knitting services. They even offered options for beginner or experienced knitter. I went for the beginner package, where the seller guaranteed the scarf would come out crooked, so it would look authentically handmade. I swear I only intended to use the scarf as a symbol of loyalty to my boss. Who would have thought she'd actually wear it around her neck? Is my beige LV scarf from last week's dry cleaning not soft enough? Or are the two Burberry plaid scarves I ironed for you the other day not stylish enough? Why are you putting a 29.9 yuan pumpkin-colored, rough-knitted scarf from an online shop under your noble head? To make up for it, I quickly ordered the 69.9 yuan expert-knitted package. When Liu Ryan received the second scarf, her expression was a bit complicated, a mix of disdain, but too polite to say anything directly. It's well made, but don't knit anymore. That's when I noticed. Her neck had some red bumps. Could the 29.9 yuan synthetic fiber scarf have caused an allergic reaction on her noble neck? I felt guilty, so I rushed out to buy some ointment and presented it to her with both hands. Sorry, Liu Ryan remained as cold as ever, not making any move to accept the ointment. I waited for a long time before she finally spoke. Gee, what are you waiting for? Am I supposed to apply it myself? I gulped, hurriedly opened the cap, and scooped out a lump of the cooling ointment. Gently, I applied it to the reddened areas of her skin. She winced slightly. Your hands are so rough. You're scratching my skin. Sorry, it's from all the manual labor. My hands are either calloused or full of cuts. I guess they're too rough for your delicate skin. As I was leaving, Liu Ryan tossed me a bottle of hand cream. Remember to use it, though she sounded haughty. She had a kind heart deep down. What kind of boss would gift their employee a 399 yuan hand cream if they weren't caring? I'll make sure to use it properly. Liu Ryan is a genuine rich family's daughter. Her family organized a grand birthday banquet for her, with all the elites in attendance, or so I heard. This had nothing to do with me originally, but then Liu Ryan suddenly told me to join her on Saturday. I barely started to object. When she shot me a sharp glance, if you don't attend your boss's birthday, who will? But Boss Liu, doesn't your family already have several housekeepers? What would I even do there? Go and bond with my live-in housekeepers. Any objections? My head was spinning. Team building on a Saturday, and at the boss's mansion, no less? Only you could come up with that. Boss Liu added, by the way, go buy yourself a decent suit, and wear a tie. Don't show up looking too shabby. I had just one question in mind, boss. Can I get reimbursed? Liu Ryan seemed to hesitate before saying, forget it. I'll just take you shopping myself. Your fashion sense is ... questionable. No matter how much she mocked me. As long as she covered the costs. She was my favorite boss. But who could have expected? Liu Ryan picked out a handcrafted suit worth over 50,000 yuan. Plus a tie costing more than 4,000 yuan. When I looked at the bill totaling 59,998 yuan, I felt a whirlwind of emotions. Just to yuan more. And it would have been my entire month's salary. I trembled as I held the receipt. Boss, you're really going to reimburse me, right? Liu Ryan waved her fingers, the diamonds on her nails sparkling brilliantly. She chuckled softly. Liu Ryan turned to the sales assistant and said, swipe the card. I admit, those are the most beautiful two words in the world. A 60,000 yuan suit. Who wouldn't love that? I figured I could wear it for 50 years. Liu Ryan invited her classmates. But I saw Lu Qing at the Liu family's banquet. He was wearing a navy blue suit with a red bow tie. Honestly, he looked a bit like Detective Conan. Lu Qing was standing next to Liu Ryan, chatting non-stop. One moment he complimented her dress. The next he praised her delicate makeup. Then he remarked on her elegant demeanor. I stood just 2 meters away, watching Liu Ryan send me constant signals with her eyes. At first, I didn't understand what she was trying to convey. Then she made a gesture, and I finally got it. I walked up to Lu Qing and gently nudged him aside. Mrs. Dress got wrinkled. It needs some tidying up, I said. At that moment, I heard a sharp snap. Lu Qing froze, then gritted his teeth and said, gee boing. The birthday gift I prepared for Ryan. You broke it. I followed his gaze to the floor, and sure enough, there lay a shattered brooch, broken into several pieces. It must have been the one Lu Qing personally designed and crafted. There's a saying I don't know if I should mention, but Liu Ryan has an entire basket of brooch diamonds, crystals, pearls. She has them all. I doubt she'd be interested in such a childish, rainbow gemstone bout eye brooch. Right on cue, the Liu family's butler stepped forward to defuse the situation. Mr. Liu ... Please come with me to the guest room to rest for a while, the butler said. Don't worry about your gift. I'll have someone repair it. Lu Qing let out a cold laugh. I'm not worried. Whoever broke it should pay for it. I'll pay. Liu Ryan suddenly interrupted. Lu Qing's expression turned serious. Liu Ryan continued, I was the one who called him over, and I was the one who asked him to pull you aside. So I'll pay for it. Lu Qing's face flushed with various emotions, but he quickly softened. It was a gift for you anyway. If you're not upset, then there's no need to talk about compensation. He turned and walked away. The butler then asked me, I didn't catch your name, sir? Liu Ryan answered for me, Ji Boing. He's my classmate. The butler smiled brightly, Mr. Ji, pleased to meet you. I shook his hand, thinking, butler, you should be my superior here. Just call me Little G. Liu Ryan followed her father, chatting and laughing with several big-name businessmen. I overheard some of them praising her as smart, decisive, and efficient. Meanwhile, I was hiding in a corner, sneaking 3 glasses of champagne, but each glass had barely a sip, and I couldn't even taste it. Suddenly, Lu Qing reappeared beside me, pointing at a tall, rich guy. See that guy over there? His name is Su Xingfan, and he's Liu Ryan's arranged marriage partner. I nodded thoughtfully. So, Boss Liu's future husband? Lu Qing sneered at me. Take a good look, Ji. How can you even compare yourself to someone like him? I shrug. I never said I was trying to compete with him. What's a broke nobody like me supposed to compare to a rich heir? Just as Lu Qing was talking, Su Xingfan suddenly walked over to us. He greeted us warmly and with a friendly smile. You must be the same age as Xiaoru, right? I'm a bit older than you guys. Graduated a few years ago. And now I run the family business. No wonder he seems so commanding. He's a CEO. Su Xingfan added, my family is in the jewelry business. Lu Qing's face darkened a bit. No wonder he designed that brooch for Liu Ryan himself. This was a subtle competition all along. Su Xingfan handed me a glass of red wine. I saw you grabbing a few glasses of champagne earlier. Are you interested in wine? Here, try this one. It's from my family's collection, he added. I took a sip and met his expectant gaze. I quickly praised, great wine, really good. He smiled slightly. It's not great wine at all, just something I brewed myself for fun. Then he handed me another glass. Try this one too. I reluctantly drank it and once again praised it, also very good. Truth be told, I couldn't taste a thing. I've only had red wine twice in my life. Su Xingfan swirled the wine in his glass and slowly said, you're all students, so I won't bother competing with you. If Lu Qing wants to compete with me, let him. He's just a kid. I don't take him seriously. But you, Ji Boying, I don't like seeing men getting too close to Xiaoru. It seems Su Xingfan had mistaken me for a rival, which, to be fair, makes sense. To outsiders, I'm just Liu Ryan's devoted bootlicker. Who could have known that our relationship was purely about money? I was just about to explain when Liu Ryan appeared. Xingfan, long time no see, she greeted him. Liu Ryan smiled at him. What are you saying to my boyfriend? Su Xingfan's eyes swept over me. Then back to Liu Ryan. And then once more to me. Xiaoru, are you saying this Ji Boying is your current boyfriend? Liu Ryan raised her eyebrow. Is there a problem? If he wasn't my boyfriend, why would I bring him home? Goodness, wasn't I here for a team-building event with the housekeepers? Su Xingfan politely congratulated us, then found an excuse to leave. I lowered my voice and asked the boss. This wasn't part of the plan. Liu Ryan also whispered, from today on, you have a new job. What job? I asked. My dad wants to arrange a marriage for me. You're going to pretend to be my boyfriend. I paused, stunned, before asking, is this considered overtime? Liu Ryan, exasperated, gritted her teeth. I'll raise your salary by 30% a month. Girlfriend, I said, grinning as I took her handbag. Where do we need to go next? After that performance, news spread throughout the school that Ji Boying, the bootlicker, had finally succeeded. Everyone congratulated me, saying that my persistence had paid off. Only Lu Qing sneered. You don't actually believe this, do you? Liu Ryan is just toying with you for a 30% raise. Miss Liu could use my head as a soccer ball, and I'd still be fine with it. Lu Qing, unable to get the upper hand, stormed off, biting his teeth. Before leaving, he spat out, just you wait. That night, I found out what he meant by wait. They organized yet another club dinner, and specifically asked Liu Ryan to bring her boyfriend. A few of the guys started making snide comments. Our academic genius here, so skilled, balancing studies and dating at the same time. Dating? He's not just dating anyone. He's dating a rich girl, isn't he? Yeah, she's only interested in his money. Haha, this guy used to circle around Miss Liu like a dog, and now, all of a sudden, he's pretending to be a real person. It's hard to get used to, but I wasn't about to back down. Smiling, I shot back. Is that so perfectly normal? Actually, I find it hard to get used to you guys as well. Where I come from, we don't let pigs sit at the table. The atmosphere turned awkward for a moment. Lu Qing tried to ease the tension, telling everyone to hurry up and eat. He then kept piling food onto Liu Ryan's plate. But Liu Ryan had a quirk: she's a bit of a germaphobe and never eats food touched by others. So I, with tears in my eyes, ate her prawns, abalone, and East Star grouper. Delicious. After a while, they decided to play truth or dare again. And once again, Liu Ryan was unlucky enough to pick truth. Lu Qing eagerly asked, "Liu Ryan, are you serious about G the bootlicker? Or are you just messing around with him? After all, he's just a broke loser who's clearly after your money. You're not actually catching feelings, are you?" Liu Ryan leaned back in her chair, her gaze displeased. "Did you lose your mind to ask something like that?" Lu Qing gritted his teeth and pressed further. "Just last month, right here, you said you only saw him as a housekeeper. So have you actually fallen for him now? And what if I have? Is there a rule against liking a housekeeper?" Another guy chimed in. "So what exactly do you like about him?" Liu Ryan stared at me for a moment. "He's handsome, tall, has a great personality, is smart, and he cooks really well. Is that enough? Or should I add a few more?" I felt my face flush uncontrollably. Why was she suddenly praising me? It was downright embarrassing. A few days later, Liu Ryan moved me into her luxurious apartment. Some people on the surface look like they're sweetly living with their boyfriend. But in reality, it's just to have someone get up at 6 a.m. to make breakfast, to get back at me. She even ordered an 8-dish meal with soup. Man, I had to get up at 5:30 to start prepping. What a ruthless capitalist. But I didn't mind, mainly because she never finished all 8 dishes. So most of the food ended up in my stomach. I went to the supermarket and bought a whole bunch of imported ingredients, choosing only the most expensive ones. After all, the ingredients were reimbursed. The next day, Liu Ryan was very pleased with the meal. But who could have predicted her mom would suddenly show up? Annie stared wide-eyed at the full table of dishes, then glanced at me, wearing an apron and holding a spatula. "Xiaoru, is this your boyfriend? Do you always live so extravagantly?" I quickly put down the spatula and explained. "Auntie, we didn't waste anything. We finish all the food." Still, Andy criticized this excessive lifestyle. "Even at home with 3 cooks, we don't eat such lavish breakfasts." Inwardly, I felt a bit proud. What does that mean? It means my cooking skills are worth 3 professionals. Liu Ryan's mom strongly invited me to stay at their home for a couple of days. Unable to refuse, I went along. She even thoughtfully arranged for me to sleep in Liu Ryan's bedroom. Of course, I immediately began setting up a bed on the floor. Liu Ryan watched my smooth, practiced movements, seeming like she wanted to say something. "Boss, is there something on your mind?" I asked. She opened a door and said, "I just wanted to mention, my bedroom is a suite. There's a smaller room over here. You don't need to sleep on the floor." I looked at the dusty blanket beneath me, feeling a bit embarrassed. "Boss, this blanket is already dirty. I'll just change the cover for you." In the middle of the night, Liu Ryan suddenly said her throat felt sore and asked for some pear soup. Being the diligent worker I am, I immediately jumped out of bed and rushed to the kitchen. I chopped a large pear, added some fritillaria, white fungus, goji berries, and rock sugar. I simmered it for half an hour. After pouring the soup into a small bowl, I turned to bring it upstairs to Boss Liu. But then I looked up and saw her mom. "Child, you're not seriously getting up in the middle of the night to cook for her, are you?" I tried to explain, "Well, Auntie, it's just that Xiaoru has a bit of a cough, so I'm just making some pear soup for her." Auntie shook her head. "You can't spoil her like this. Xiaoru's always been like this since she was a child. The more you give, the less she sees your efforts." "I don't mind, really," I replied, smiling shyly. "Auntie, it's no big deal for me. I'm just doing my job. And as long as Xiaoru feels better, I'm happy." The next day, Liu Ryan pulled me aside with a cold expression, demanding to know what spell I'd cast on her parents. They woke me up early in the morning to lecture me for half an hour, telling me not to toy with your feelings. Boing, explain yourself to me. What feelings do you have for me? And exactly how have I been toying with you? She was fuming. Liu Ryan was so angry. She couldn't even eat breakfast. It was such a strange turn of events that I ended up sleeping in for 3 days. Around noon on the third day, Boss Liu called me, asking me to help pack her bags. Panic rushed through me. Boss, I only skipped making breakfast for 3 days. You're not planning to fire me, are you? Liu Ryan laughed. Boing, I'm going to fire you, and then ask you to pack my bags and kick me out of your house. This is your place, not mine. Sorry, as long as you're not firing me. I hung up the phone and started packing her things. A few seconds later, Liu Ryan sent a few texts she was going camping. Bring 2 warm jackets for me. Also bring some common medicines. And go buy some snacks later. I stared at the last line of her message. And you're coming too. I couldn't help but twitch a little. Is this a last-minute business trip? When we arrived, I realized the conditions were tough. Not only that, I had to share a tent with my boss. Liu Ryan lifted her eyelids slightly, and in her usual cold tone said, I'll add 20,000 yuan to your bonus this month. Her icy lips somehow managed to say something so exhilarating. With a single leap, I quickly set up the tent in no time. Standing at the entrance, I waved her over. Boss, come on over. But something still felt off. The night on the mountain was chilly, and my jacket wasn't warm enough. I was shivering from the cold. Liu Ryan shot me a glare. Didn't I tell you to bring a thicker coat? I laughed awkwardly. Boss, when are we going to sleep? I'm exhausted. She pressed her lips and said, wait a little longer. Wait for what? I wondered. Suddenly, there was a loud bang. A huge firework exploded in the sky before my eyes. Then came a second and a third. Fireworks lit up the entire mountain. It felt like I was seeing a million stars. Oh my god, someone's setting off fireworks. How beautiful. I wonder which rich fool did this. Liu Ryan glared at me again. Thanks for the compliment. It was me. I froze for a second. Boss, I wasn't calling you a rich fool. But why did you set off fireworks? Liu Ryan suddenly smiled shyly. Boing. I think I might like you a little. Do you want to date me? My brain seemed to crash. I couldn't think at all. The fireworks reflected in her clear eyes. And 3 seconds later, I pulled her close and kissed her. After becoming Liu Ryan's real boyfriend, I became even more dedicated to my duties. Whenever we traveled together, if I found something delicious, I would go out of my way to learn how to make it for her. When we watched movies together, any romantic scenes, I would take note of them, so I could surprise her later. Liu Ryan sighed helplessly. Why are you always running around like a top? Can't you just relax for a bit? While a cheesy drama played on TV, I was holding a rag, wiping dust off the coffee table. Smiling, I said, I just don't feel comfortable. Liu Ryan hesitated. If you feel things aren't clean enough, why don't we just hire a housekeeper? I immediately threw the rag down. Are you kidding me? What if the new housekeeper turns out to be a seductive vixen? What if that pretty face tries to seduce you? What if you fall for her? Liu Ryan chuckled and said, in a few days, it's Xingfan's engagement party. We need to attend. Who's Su Xingfan? You drank his wine, remember? It clicked for me. Oh, right, Su the CEO, that handsome rich guy. Curious, I asked, who's he getting engaged to? One of my cousins, she replied. Seems like in the end, it's still a family alliance. I asked, a bit worried, and what about you? No arranged marriage for you? Liu Ryan shrugged casually, answering offhandedly. No arranged marriage. I told my parents that I want to marry you. In that instant, it felt like all the blood in my body rushed to my chest, my heart malfunctioning. beating loudly and uncontrollably. Later that night, before bed, Liu Ryan went to the fridge to grab some juice. Just as she turned around, I was kneeling on one knee in front of her. "What are you doing?" She reached out to help me up. "Did you hurt your knee?" I couldn't take it anymore. "Liu Ryan, I'm proposing. Could you at least look at the ring in my hand?" She sneezed. Who could have predicted that? On the very first night after my proposal was accepted, I'd come down with a high fever. Liu Ryan, the pampered lady who'd never lifted a finger, clumsily made me ginger tea and some seafood porridge. I took a sip of it, and she gently wiped my face with a towel. "If you like it, eat more. Why don't you try it yourself first?" Honestly, I've never had seafood porridge this bad in my life. After taking some fever medicine, I fell asleep. In a daze, I felt something cold on my forehead. Probably Liu Ryan applying a cold compress. Thanks to her attentive care, my fever subsided in just a day. The next morning, I woke up feeling completely refreshed. I walked to the kitchen and found Liu Ryan stirring something strange with a wooden spoon. Curious, I asked her, "What's that?" She excitedly served me a small bowl. I made another pot of seafood porridge. "If you liked it, eat more this time." She rested her chin on her hands, her face full of anticipation, and asked, "How does it taste?" I hesitated for a moment. Forcing a smile, "Not bad." She immediately gave me another big spoonful. "Eat more so you can recover faster." Final exams were approaching, and everyone was burning the midnight oil, studying. Apparently, Liu Ryan spent 8,888 yuan to buy key exam questions and class notes from the top student in her major. When I heard about this, I regretted it so much I slapped my thigh in frustration. How did I let someone else make that money? If I had known selling notes could be profitable, I would have written 8 different sets. So I gritted my teeth and decided to take on a second major. During the second semester's finance exams, I slapped a notebook in front of her. I got the key topics from the professor. "How about I sell it to you for a cheaper price?" Unexpectedly, that's how my side business began. Soon, a bunch of people came to me for notes. Some even asked, "Do you have English notes? Any for modern literature?" For a moment, I was dazed. But then I replied, "I have everything. Anything you need, 88 yuan per subject. Available in both hard copy and digital formats." The power of finals was immense. In just one morning, I sold almost 100 sets of notes. Liu Ryan once asked me why I was always saving money. I told her I want to open a coffee shop. Then one day, Liu Ryan took me to a beautifully designed store. She asked me, "What do you think of this place?" I took a careful look around. I answered, "The location is great, and the decor looks fantastic. It's exactly my style." Then she suddenly handed me a set of keys. "Whose keys are these?" I asked. She nodded toward the glass door. "They're the keys to this place." I stared at her in disbelief. "Boss Liu, is this shop yours?" "Full, it's yours now. Go run your coffee business properly." "Boss G." Liu Ryan's need for control was actually quite strong. Although she said the cafe would be entirely my responsibility, she strictly forbade me from selling whole wheat bread because she didn't like it. I tried reasoning with her kindly. If it exists, there must be a market for it. Some customers are bound to like it. Liu Ryan glared at me and retorted, "Who would like whole wheat bread? Go ahead, find me one person in the world who does." I pretended to agree with her, but secretly put the bread on the menu anyway. To sell it off quickly and avoid her finding out, I even gave it a discount, just 9.9 yuan per bag. 4 hours passed, and I had only sold one bag. And that was because a lady accidentally dropped it on the floor and felt bad, so she bought it. In the end, Liu Ryan bought the remaining bags herself, apparently to feed the dogs. But even the stray dogs wouldn't eat it. Then one day, Miss Liu suddenly got an idea. She wanted to learn how to bake a cake with me. She was very stubborn, insisting on starting from scratch. But she was a little clumsy, always getting the flour and eggs wrong. It was always a runny mess, and it looked like it would never bake properly. In the end, I lied and told her I had already put her batch in the oven, and only then did she breathe a sigh of relief. Of course, I actually switched it with a pre-made cake batter, because if I waited for her to finish, it would have been dark by the time it was done. Later, she awkwardly tried frosting with a piping bag, and even wrote a few crooked words on the cake. I squinted, trying to figure out what it said. Finally, I realized it spelled out G Boing. Happy birthday! It was only at that moment that it hit me. Today was my birthday. By the time evening rolled around, sure enough, Liu Ryan brought out the ugly cake, asking me to make a wish and blow out the candles. She had a strange expression on her face, as if she was waiting for something. After I cut the cake, and even ate a big piece, she looked confused and asked, "Why haven't you found it yet?" I blinked in confusion. Found what? She proceeded to cut the rest of the cake into pieces, searching through it for a while. Something's wrong. Where are the rings I prepared? Why aren't they in the cake? Suddenly, guilt crept over me as I remembered. The cake Liu Ryan made was the one I threw in the trash. No wonder she insisted on baking the cake herself. She planned to hide the gift inside it. Had I known, I wouldn't have switched the batter. And so, on that chilly night, the two of us threw on our jackets and hurried over to the cafe. We spent 2 hours digging through the trash until I finally found the pair of platinum rings. They were beautifully crafted, with engraved letters on the inside, shining brightly under the streetlight. And there we stood amidst the garbage pile. A lifelong commitment to each other.